What's going on, everybody? Today, our guest, Coach Adam Hall, entering year two at Utah Valley. Coach, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You were NC State for 9 years, and you're entering year two at Utah Valley. What kind of sparked the change and made it the right fit for you?
Um, I think it was just the right timing professionally. There have been some other opportunities while I was at NC State, and um, just it made sense professionally for me to make that jump, and it just seemed like the program was going to be in a good place in terms of support, and it's the only Division I program in the state, and so just the opportunity to make the jump as a brand new head coach at I would say a growing university and in a program that was ready to make some change and grow, and their support with that. I think it just everything kind of made sense.
Yeah, what has that transition kind of been like? Because going from Raleigh to Utah is a pretty good jump there.
Yeah, different climates, different environments, different wrestling communities. Really, it was just step one, connecting with the team and helping them get off to a good start with new leadership and building buy-in and then building a staff and recruiting new people. And year one was a blur. In fact, another former head coach, Zach Tonelli, who's now at Virginia Tech, he and I were talking at Cliff Keen this last year, and he corrected me. He's like, "You're not in year one, you're in year zero, because you're setting a foundation right now that's going to allow you to take off." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's a pretty good perspective, because it was a lot of work in year one. The first few months, I didn't sleep a whole lot because it was just me in the beginning, and then as I built out the staff, obviously got more help, but it was a lot. Though, this last year was a blur, and I honestly knew it would be, but the transition was fairly smooth, and that included two drives across the country from Cary,
Right.
North Carolina to Utah, and really it's been awesome. Just building the program and building fans and a community here.
Yeah, speaking on building fans, your duel with Oklahoma State did have 5,000 fans. So being able to pack an arena out like that year one, what does that do? You already having that level of support. What does that do for a program just being in year one?
I think it just sets the bar high right away. I think a lot of people were surprised that many people showed up, over 5,000 people, and we broke the attendance record in our first home match of the year and first duel that we had at home. And I think it speaks volume to the community that's here and wanting to see the program succeed and wanting to support it. And I try to year have that same mentality of bringing in some great teams to wrestle here and really draw a crowd. And so, um, yeah, I think it was a good benchmark for our administration. Like, wow, this is what the program is really capable of doing, and the people here that want to support it, and that's awesome.
You were able to pick up some good wins as a dual team. Oregon State, who was ranked at the time. How does that just help you build into this next season? Just trying to get that momentum going forward.
Um, it's a great stepping stone. Don't get me wrong, and as we try to chase some of these bigger teams, like we had some barn burner duels with Mizzou and South Dakota State and NC State and Northern Colorado, some duels that we ultimately lost, but we were in dogfights with, and I think we are just trying to make a name for ourselves and just proves like we're good enough. Like we're training at a high level, and like our team spent a good chunk of the summer training because it's just a lot of guys didn't get what they wanted last year, and we had a few guys that just admitted, we met with every guy on our team individually just to talk through things, and we had a few guys who were starters that just felt like they didn't buy in soon enough, and because of that, didn't um they didn't get what they wanted. And as a coach, and I probably feel the same way as a parent, like you have to allow people to grow through failure. And it's hard to see, but the best thing that we could have done for these guys is set them up for success, help them see what the path looks like, and it's their choice to stay on it and buy in. And some of the guys did do it completely or did it too late, and it cost them going to the national tournament this last year. But you turn around this spring and summer and man, they're hungry. They're just, I know I'm better than that, and I'm going to hold myself to a higher standard and be more accountable, more coachable. So you just see some cool things that come out of, I would say in like a startup like a startup school or startup business. For us, like we've only been a university for 18 years, and Division 1, I mean, technically like 12 after we went through a transition period to Division 1. So it's like we've had a limited amount of time to build a program and build history, and so like a lot of this is new, and so with that comes, I would say, like an up and down road, especially for me in year one and our staff in year one, and we knew we were trying to celebrate our successes and learn through our failures, and I think we had a really good year zero to get us going.
Year zero, yeah. Speaking in transfer portal NIL, you guys were able to use the portal and get your first All American in year one. Just how has the portal just changed the game overall for you as a coach and the way you kind of set up your team?
We were really strategic. At the end of the day, like I don't want to bank on the transfer portal. I want to create great relationships with the guys we were recruiting in high school, and really just build long-term success. And I'm not saying the transfer portal isn't great, but a lot of times you don't necessarily know what you're going to get because somebody's leaving another school, and there's different circumstances. Don't get me wrong. Like we picked up one key guy each year, um, last year and this year, both from Penn State. Just a circumstance where a couple of the guys were in a position that they were struggling to make the starting lineup, and they were very talented and had an opportunity, and chose to take advantage of that opportunity. And Terrell, became an All-American at our school and put us on the map, and got us going in year one. And his former teammate, well, now that he's done, and his former teammate at Penn State is here, David Evans. He's been really good at mentoring Dave, and Dave's from Pennsylvania. Terrell's from Utah, so this is like coming back home, and Dave's from
Right.
Pennsylvania, and he's making this his new home. And having Terrell here, somebody that he knows, and I think is a big deal. And again, don't get me wrong, like I think every year strategically, if there's somebody that makes sense in the portal, they're interested, and this is the right fit, then absolutely. But in terms of recruiting, our focus is on building relationships with people within the state, number one, in the region, number two, and then people who fit. Because at the end of the day, like we're going to take somebody, doesn't matter where they're from, and if they fit, they fit. In fact, we picked up a really good prospect out of Pennsylvania this year. His name's Chris Dennis. He's a three-time Pennsylvania state medalist in big school. He's pretty good, and I know that he's going to make an impact when he gets here. And he just came out for a visit. I know his club coaches pretty well, and just loved it and seemed to be the right fit. And it's like, I don't care where you're from. We'll make this your
Absolutely.
home. So
Your recruiting class, the one you have coming in this season, is very strong. So just kind of, I'm assuming you guys are doing some workouts. So how's that kind of been so far?
yeah, priority number one was just getting buy-in, like I said, state. And I feel like of the 2025 class, we picked up probably three of the top five recruits in the state, and it was a big deal in terms of getting our program, just more people who would be invested in guys here. Our community wants to be invested in the program. It makes it that much easier when they're invested in people that they know. And so I knew right away, like number one, just the priority was Utah, and I'm originally from Idaho, and so connecting with my former college coach, who's the development director in the state of Idaho, Chris Owens, just being able to pull guys from Idaho, those two states like right away. And then our incoming class last year I mean, we had 16 guys show up, and six different states were represented. And so now we're branching out, and we're expanding our horizons, and it helped getting Terrell on the podium like tremendously, because now people are reaching out from different places like Ohio, or Georgia, like I said, Pennsylvania, and like, hey, we want to come check out what you're doing. Like you guys are obviously starting off and having success, and I think at the end of the day, you're only as good as the people you bring in. So I know we're bringing in high quality people, number one, and this incoming class, they've proven themselves like regionally and nationally to be competitive. In fact, the only two guys in the state of Utah that placed last year at Super 32, we signed both of them. So in
Absolutely.
terms of a level of success, especially in folk style, like what they're capable of doing, and those guys are already making an impact in the room.
For one, you guys were top five nationally, academically. What does that say about your program?
Yeah, when I got here, I asked the team if it was reasonable at our school to get a 3.2 GPA. Not a single guy objected. And I said, then that's the standard. And, our athletic director, Jared Sumption, when I took the job, he reminded me twice that our team had the second lowest GPA in the department for men's teams. And I said, well, that's going to change.
Absolutely.
And within a semester, we had the highest term GPA we've ever had. And then after this spring semester, after 1 year, we had the highest cumulative GPA we've ever had. And it just speaks volumes to a few areas. One, the academic support that our student athletes have in terms of tutoring, academic mentoring. Our academic advisor, she's great. She's a rock star. Just holding guys accountable is the second thing. Is just one, resources, two, accountability, and we did that right away. And just I think it changed the mentality, changed the standard of like how you do anything is how you do everything. And I told the guys, like, if you're trying to cut corners in the classroom, if you're trying to get out of study hall, if you're not completing your hour assignment, all these things, like your wrestling is going to feel that effect because there's things that are going to be weighing on you when you walk into the wrestling room that you're going to have to deal with. And at some point, you got people breathing down your neck that you need to figure it out because at the end of the day, we're not holding your hand. We're providing a roadmap for you, providing resources, but it's up to you to put in that work. And with our team standards and the people we're bringing in, better and better student athletes, um, you're going to be held accountable and you're going to be a guy on the outside looking in if you're not doing the right things. And guys figured out real soon. We had some guys showing up to practice with a laptop and like, oh, well, we're going through the workout. You obviously didn't take this seriously, and now you have stuff that you have to get done. And I think having oversight is great. Like week to week, knowing what they're going through, where they're struggling, so that we don't get halfway through a semester and realize the guy's failing two classes, has a C in another class, and now he's going to be ineligible. Right. I just think it's up to us coaches to understand what's going on with our team, and that's academically, and athletically and socially, just get a better picture. Because at the end of the day, they're 18 to 22, 23-year olds, and they're going to make mistakes. And we got to be able to coach them through that and also hold them accountable. And so I think that's a big part of why just overnight, our GPA changed, and we were the fifth best team in the country in terms of team GPA.
Yeah, speaking of, your athletes, what's your ideal recruit when you're like looking at recruiting athletes?
One, just looking at their character and who they are as a person, and you get a feel for that through the recruiting process, but also talking to parents. You talk to club coaches, high school coaches, just some different people in the community that maybe know these individuals, and we're trying to get the best quality human beings that we can. Um, Coachable. Number two, just being able to be moldable and be led by a new person, by this new staff. And certain tangibles, I think there are a few things that if you're going to have success in college, any level, but especially in Division one, how much you're devoted to the sport, right? How much you care, how much you're training in the off season, what you're doing outside of the wrestling room. These little things matter because you're going to be going from being under your parents' wing to being on your own. And if your parents literally doing everything for you, you're often lost and figuring things out and struggle the first year, may never figure it out because you haven't learned to become self-motivated, self-sufficient, whatever, what that looks like. Number two is, do you have a leg attack? Can
Yeah.
you score points at the highest level in high school and then have that translate to college. Number three, are you tough? Can you manage adversity, battle through injuries? Because it's a part of our sport. It really is. And my college coach used to ask us the question, are you hurt or are you injured? Right? Because
Oh yeah.
everybody's a little banged up. Everybody's hurt. Like go train for a couple few weeks, a month, and tell me you're not like hurting somewhere. It's part of it, right? And you've seen people at a high level around the country come serious injuries, not just being hurt, but serious injuries and accomplish big things. I'm not telling every athlete, yeah, you need to go out there and wrestle injured. It's ultimately up to them, but are you tough? Like again, is there adversity that you've done a good job managing and working through? And I would say the last thing is like just tangible, like intangibles. Like does this person can they throw? Are they really really tough on top? Just some different things that would translate to the next level.
Yeah, where do you see the Utah Valley Wolverines in the next 5 years?
Being in the top 25 regularly every year. Um, I know it's going to take some time, uh, but in terms of what is being set with the foundation, the people that are coming in, the support that we're getting, um, this program is ready to make jumps. It really is. And again, leaning back on the adversity we faced, the ups and downs, and we had a really young team. We only really graduated two guys last this past year, and we'll have a few more obviously graduate this year, but a lot of the core of our team are sophomores, and so um yeah, it'll be again this year, I would say for the next year or two, like just battling through adversity and trying to help these guys understand that they belong. And we set up another great schedule for this year that's going to test them. And at the end of the day, we're trying to prepare guys for the postseason, for the end of the year, and just hold that high standard. Like this is it. There's no other way. This is the expectation. And the sooner you buy in, the sooner um, you that you belong, the more success you're going to have sooner.
Yeah, speaking on schedule, Big 12 is a really tough conference. What does a schedule like that do as well as preparation for those top level? Because you're
It tests our guys throughout the year, and then obviously at the end of the year with the Big 12 tournament. But um, at the end of the day, when you get to the Big 12s, you get to NCAA's, you're not hiding from anybody. So let's go out and prove ourselves and knock people off and get the ball rolling for ourselves, prepare ourselves for the end of the year. If we have matches where we're learning from and we're going to see these people at the end of the year, like we know what we're getting, we know the adjustments we need to make, and we're going to do that accordingly. And so I always want to have a good mix of schedule. Um, Plan is to go to Vegas every year because it's a 5 hour drive for us. But then you mix in like hosting Stanford. We actually start the year hosting Stanford, and we end the regular season hosting Nebraska. And you sprinkle in Wisconsin in there, the Southern Scuffle. You're getting a great mix of competition, so that by the end of the year, you've seen a lot of people.
speaking with your time at NC State, you were part of numerous conference titles as well as a team trophy. What's your one of your fondest memories from your time there?
Mm. I can remember it vividly, just watching Michael Machiavello win a national title, and he beat a guy that he lost to twice during the year, and yeah, just got it done, and it was kind of just a magical moment. It came down to the last two matches of the national tournament. We needed Mock to win a national title, like no pressure, and we needed Kyle Snyder to beat Adam Kuhn in the national finals to keep us in a tie for fourth with Michigan, and he did. And it was like down in the end of the third period kind of thing. And I just remember just sharing that moment, and it kind of gives me chills thinking about it. Just like we did it, like we got it
Absolutely.
done, and we proved a lot of people wrong. We had success, and It's cool. It was just valid, like a cool validation of all the hard work that the staff, that the team, the support staff, the donors, like everybody that had poured into that. Like we were coming back with something tangible, and you have that memory forever. Obviously we won a number of ACC championships, and there were some great memories along the way, and some awesome dual meets, and really grateful for that time. But obviously winning a team trophy was a deal, and just memories that you'll never forget.
Speaking into, your career at Boise State, what was your favorite memory? I'm not sure if it was, All American for the first time, or what was one of your favorite accomplishments there?
It was placing for the first time, and um I had been of adversity with injuries, and I cut quite a bit of weight like my first year or two before I moved up, and not making any excuses, but just the type of wrestler I am, and or I was, and the gas tank that I had. It was, there's some things that affected me early on in my career, and having to battle through adversity, and then having more adversity like my junior year, just not living up to my own expectations and what I should do, and having to take an alternate route. Like I spent 4 years in the round of 12. I won twice and I lost twice, and the last 2 years when I won, it was just getting through, punching through, and it's just such a big deal, and something, again, it's like the team trophy at NC State that you never forget. It sticks with you for your life, and I'm grateful for having to go through that experience. Like, obviously goals were to win uh multiple national titles, and it just didn't fall my way, and I lean on that now as I coach athletes to try to achieve more than what I did. And really that drives me in helping them succeed, um just to help them learn from mistakes that I made, and help them through struggles that I had, that I didn't address, or feel like I could talk with somebody about, or needed to talk to somebody about. And I think it's helped me be the the best coach that I can be. More than anything, is my own career was transformative for me as a coach, and just trying to help other people be better than I was.
Transition for you, going from athlete to coach?
Um, well, I would say I had two steps. Because I started coaching at Columbia University, in Ivy League in New York City, and I was still competing, and so trying to understand just two different roles, and one that was not like the college grind anymore. It was just a little bit different in terms of competing, and what that looked like, but also just your role as a coach, and being a 24-year-old coach. And actually, I think at the time when I was 23. Um, and so, yeah, just trying to figure out a new system, a new environment, while you're still competing and you're coaching. It was a lot. Like, I remember my first year being at Columbia, and our recruiting was a lot different there. It was just your your pool was different, your focus was different, and then say the next jump was going uh, to NC State, and understanding what recruiting at the highest level, and what a bigger pool of recruiting looked like in this whole. And um, really just understanding more of the business side, because I had levels of development while I was at NC State, as well as I developed into an associate head coach, and then being prepared to lead a program somewhere. There were just a lot of stages of my coaching career, and I'm grateful for Pat Popolizio, and just the mentoring that he gave me, and just all the great examples that he used from his time as a first time head coach at Binghamton, and then the transition he made to NC State, and mistakes he made, and things he learned. And I try to take that and really internalize that as I now lead a program and lead other people. And I would say I had probably two steps in my path, and they've absolutely shaped me to where I am now.
Yep. As we wrap up, do you have a message to the fans and supporters of you, or just the program in general?
Um, just people ask me, how is the team going to be this year? And I said, better than last year. That's all I can tell you. And
Absolutely.
I, their their level of success and our standards, like what we believe they're, you know, it's up to them to just buy into that and believe and understand. And look, I'm really grateful for the group that we have and the culture we've built and we're continuing to shape. And the administration and their support, our alums, our donors and their support. And um, we've had a lot of cool things happen over the last year and in the past couple of months. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to lead this program. And it nothing has changed for me in 1 year in terms of how I feel about this program and what the expectations are and what we're capable of doing. And so, um, yeah, I would just say fans, the schedule is supposed to drop here the next week or two. Got everything
Awesome.
finalized and just be on the lookout on social media.
Well, Coach, thanks for your time and best of luck in the upcoming season.
Appreciate it, Levi. Thanks so much.